Good day, grade 9 students. On this video, we will be dealing about ratio and proportion. We will use this concept in studying the unit topic, which is similarity, that involves the similarity of triangles. Our learning targets. First one is to describe a proportion. Second one, we will apply the fundamental theorems of proportionality to solve problems involving proportions. Let us first define ratio. What is a ratio? A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. The ratio of A to B can also be expressed as A is to B, or in symbol we have A colon B, or in fractional form which is A over B. To compare ratios, write them as fractions. So it will be easier for us to compare ratios when they are in their fractional form. The ratios are equal if they are equal when written as fractions. A ratio says how much of one thing there is compared to another thing. Let us have our first example about ratio. Let's say that there are 3 blue squares to 1 yellow square. Let us show the ratio in different ways. For the first one, we will use the colon. So the symbol colon to separate the value. So we have here 3 colon 1 read as 3 is to 1. Then we can use the word 2, which is 3 to 1. And the last one is like a fraction wherein we have 3 over 1. For our next example, let us use this situation. Janine has a bag with 3 video cassettes, 4 marbles, 7 books, and 1 orange. For the first question, what is the ratio of books to marble? So let us identify how many books are there and how many marbles are there. Express as a fraction with the numerator equal to the first quantity, which is the books, and the denominator equal to the second, which is the marbles. So the answer would be 7 is to 4, or 7 over 4. So the other ways of writing the ratio are 7 to 4 and 7 colon 4 read as 7 is to 4. For our second problem, what is the ratio of video cassettes to the total number of items in the bag? The first quantity refers to the video cassettes. So obviously we have 3 video cassettes. And then the total number of items in the bag. So here we need to identify the total number of the objects inside the bag, which are 3 plus 4 plus 7 and plus 1. So we have here a total of 15 items. So the answer can be expressed as 3 over 15, 3 to 15, or 3 is to 15. The next part of our discussion is about proportion. Two equal ratios form a proportion. So it means dapat laging may dalawang ratio na nai-involve. Actually, it is at least 2 ratios ang nag-i-involve. Minsan, ang proportion can be made of 2 ratios, 3 ratios, 4 ratios, and so on, as long as they are equal to each other. Focusing on 2 equal ratios, it means that when we have A over B, it is equal to C over D, which is another ratio. So we can also express them as A is to B is equal to C is to D, wherein the product of A and D is equal to the product of B and C. Because in the proportion, the product of the means, so here the means refer to the B and the C, and the extremes, which are A and D. So in proportion, the product of the means BC must be equal to the product of the extremes AB for them to be called as proportion. When one of the four numbers in a proportion is unknown, Cross products may be used to find the unknown number. This is called solving the proportion. Question marks or letters are frequently used in place of the unknown number. So I know that you are familiar with cross multiplication. So ginagamit ang cross multiplication para mahanap ang isang unknown number sa ating proportion. Now, let us state if each pair of ratios forms a proportion. First one, 4:2 and 20:6. So we will apply cross multiplication. If the product of 4 and 6 is equal to the product of 2 and 20, meaning they are proportion. If not, they are not proportion. So let us solve. 4 times 6, is it equal to 20 times 2? 4 times 6 is 24. And 20 times 2 is 40. Therefore, 24 is not equal to 40, meaning this is not a proportion. For the second one, we have 3 times 8 and 2 times 18. 3 times 8, is it equal to 18 times 2? 3 times 8 is 24. 18 times 2 is 36. 24 will never be equal to 36. So it means that this is not a proportion. For the third one, we have 4 times 12. Is it equal to 16 times 3? 4 times 12 is 48. 16 times 3 is also 48. Meaning 48 is equal to 48. So this indicates that this pair of ratios is a proportion. For the last one, we will multiply 4 to 6 and 3 to 8. 4 times 6, is it equal to 8 times 3? 4 times 6 is 24. 8 times 3 is also 24. So here, they are equal, meaning 4:3 and 8:6 is a proportion. Let us have our second example. In the proportion 15:35 is equal to x:70, what is the value of x? So meaning we will apply the cross multiplication to solve for the unknown value in our proportion. First step is to write it into fractional form so it will be easier for us to solve and to use the cross multiplication. So we have here 15:35 is equal to x:70. Then we will have our cross multiplication. We will multiply 15 to 70 and 35 to x. So we have 15 times 70 is equal to 35x. Then, let's simplify. So we have 1050 is equal to 35x. Then we will divide both sides of the equation to 35 so that we will eliminate the coefficient of x here. So we have 1050 divided by 35, and that is 30. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 30. For our second example, in the proportion 2:3 is equal to 10:3x plus 3, what is the value of x? For our first step, again, we will write it into fractional form. So we have 2/3 is equal to 10/3x plus 3. Then, we will apply the cross multiplication. We will distribute 2 to 3x plus 3, and 3 will be multiplied to 10. So we have 2 times 3x plus 3 is equal to 3 times 10. To simplify the left side of our equation, we will distribute 2 to 3x and 2 to positive 3. So we have here 2 times 3x, that is 6x. 2 times 3 is positive 6. For the other side of the equation, we have 3 times 10, which is equal to 30. So our working equation will be 6x plus 6 is equal to 30. Now, let's proceed in solving the value of x. We will subtract positive 6 to both sides of the equation. So, the positive 6 here will just be moved to the other side of the equation. But the explanation for that is we are subtracting negative 6, or we are subtracting 6 to both sides of the equation. So we have here 6x is equal to 30 minus 6. Then we have 6x is equal to 24. Now, we will divide both sides of the equation by 6. So we have here x is equal to 24 divided by 6, which is 4. Therefore, in our proportion, we have 2:3 equals to 10 is to 3 times 4 plus 3. Let us apply the proportion in solving this word problem. A newly hired secretary can type 100 words in 120 seconds. At that rate, how many words can she type in 450 seconds? For our solution, let W be the number of words. So we will use the variable W for us to identify the number of words that the newly hired secretary can type. Let us form the proportion based on the problem. So, a newly hired secretary can type 100 words into 120 seconds. So, meaning our proportion is 100 is to 120. The problem to be solved is how many words can she type in 450 seconds. This seconds is our second quantity, and the W is our unknown quantity. So, meaning our ratio is W is to 450. In solving this proportion, again, we will use the cross multiplication. We will multiply 100 to 450 and 120 to W. So we have 450 times 100 is equal to 120 W. Simplifying the equation, we have 45,000 is equal to 120 W. Then we will divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of W, which is 120. So we have 45,000 divided by 120, that is 375. So meaning the secretary can type 375 words in 450 seconds. For our last example, Marites wants to save money for her son's birthday. In 2 weeks, she was able to save 2,000 pesos. How many weeks will it take her to save 15,000 pesos? For our problem, let us have our ratio first. First one, we have 2 weeks and 2,000. So we have the ratio 2 is to 2,000. For the problem, how many weeks? So we are solving for weeks, and let x be the number of weeks Marites is saving money. And the savings or the money that she needs to save is 15,000 pesos. So we have the ratio x is to 15,000. To solve this proportion, we will have the cross multiplication again. We will multiply 2 to 15,000 and 2,000 will be multiplied to x. So we have this working equation. 2 times 15,000 is equal to 2,000x. Simplifying this, we have 30,000 is equal to 2,000x. Again, we will divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of x, which is 2,000. So we have 30,000 is divided by 2,000, and that is 15. So meaning, it will take 15 weeks for Marites to save 15,000 pesos. For more discussion and more examples, study ratio and proportion on pages 292 to 296 of eMath Rex and Math Time Volume 3, pages 29 to 31. So meron pang mga ibang examples sa book at sa Math Time na pwede ninyong gamitin para pag-aralan ang ratio and proportion. Before I end this video, let me remind you that you have to set your goals, make your plans, chase your dreams. Thank you and God bless.